sustainably more than ever. And I don't know about you, but that's how I'd rather do business, simply and sustainably. We have someone from Nigeria. Awesome. All right. Well, if you're ready, let's jump right in. Let's get into it. Okay, so it's Star Wars Day. So I had the idea to go to Midjourney and recreate our team as Star Wars characters. Ran this by the team. Apologies in advance because Midjourney takes its own direction, and the outtakes were crazy. Josh on the left there, the outtake, he had Yoda sitting in his lap, and I probably laughed for a good 6 minutes straight. So that's Midjourney. If you guys want to know how to create your own, we could go into that really quick. I can screen share. You really just pull up Discord and you follow the prompt. So you're going to type in imagine, and then you're going to type in the prompt. You're going to give it an image URL. That's it. Like, it's that simple. You give it an image URL and you ask it to recreate this image in the style of, and you're going to name the person you want it recreated as. So that's how to do it. But I think we should just keep going. We could dwell on Discord, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So if you guys are good, let's dive right in. So what we're going to cover is the revolution happening in inbound marketing. And that's not just a Star Wars friendly statement. That's the truth. Like, we are in an actual revolution where AI is going to shift and impact everything we do as marketers. And we're also going to cover what inbound marketing used to be, where it's going to go over some of the hottest questions right now in AI. How do I use content? How do I use it with integrity? Can I publish it? All those questions. And then we're going to go into the new AIO model, what that looks like, and how you can use it. That's going to include how to reroute writers to becoming optimizers, which is what our AIO model is built on. It's built on the idea that AI is now creating the baseline content, and the writer is optimizing it. So they're basically driving the engine. And then hopefully I'll blow your mind with how simple it is to put together an 8-figure inbound content strategy now. Like, we are in new times. I cannot believe how simple and easy it is to execute on content. And then we'll write together live using content at scale. So depending on time, I think we have an hour and a half total. All right. So first of all, let's talk about the actual revolution happening. So I used to run a human-only writing agency. It's funny, right? We're now using the words human-only. Justin uses manual, but it's true. Like, times have shifted so much in such a short amount of time. So our agency at its height was producing around 10 million words a year. And I sold it in 2021, knowing that this shift was coming. And I didn't want to run a human-only writing agency. I wanted to be in the future, in these times, because we're really in a place where we can do some pioneering if we work in AI and we integrate it into our services. So compare that to what we're doing at Content at Scale. Still blows my mind. 5 years of content in 1 month. What? That's possible. So crazy stuff. Our users are producing this. So we're approaching past, I think now, 50 million words per month. And this is large scale SEO content. This is content that drives traffic and grows a business. Okay, so you might already know this, but in case you don't, it's a known fact that AI is now better than any human writer. It's known. And Capterra actually did a study on this in 2022. And this is what they found. So they found that 82% of marketers agree that AI is actually the key to the future of marketing. 84% of business owners believe AI should be a priority in their business. And of course, ChatGPT was one of the fastest adapted to technologies in the history of the world. What? Still blows my mind. Sorry, I keep saying that, but it's true. So past 100 million active users, probably 3 or 4 or 5 times that. And then this one is surprising. Whenever I found this one out, 82% of marketers actually believe that AI content is as good as human-generated content. So if you're offering content as a service, let me know in the comments. And what I'm interested in knowing is if you're selling AI-generated content yet, and if you're positioning it like that, because you can, right? We're in a place where AI is no longer taboo. even though you might still see the clickbait and the traffic driving headlines out there that try to say, well, human only is best. It's just, we're not there anymore. We're past that point. So knowing this, AI really can replace the rough draft stage of the human content writer. And if you're not, I would argue you're wasting time. There is a better way to do it. It's like going from the yellow book to the internet. Why would you flip through the pages of the yellow book still? You're wasting your time. We're there. So content marketing then versus now. Let's talk about the redistribution of human work in content marketing and how AI is impacting this. This is pretty interesting. So, back when I ran large scale campaigns and we did this human only, writing was by far the hardest thing to do. You had your strategy, you had your research, the editing portion, distribution, promotion, but the actual content creation. Like, how do you do that? How do you find that writer? How do you interview them? How do you collect and publish content on deadline? That was the hardest part. So that took the most amount of people. So today with AI, you can literally redistribute your time, which is incredible, into these other areas. So that's an amazing reason to think about how do we redistribute our content creation and move into the other portions. Okay, Josh, I'm going to bring you back up for I think I have a cough coming on. So let's do Q&A for a second, and I will be right back.
Yeah, hi everyone. So what questions do we have? I can also say I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You can see behind me, this is an image my dad got me. It's from a local photography artist. He combined the Death Star with some like war footage. It's like a really cool picture. I also have the Millennium Falcon blueprints right there as well. But happy to answer your questions while Julia is away and catching herself a little bit. So AI is a huge tool in my toolbox. Nice, David. All right, then edit. All right, so let me know any questions. I know it's kind of short notice, but I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have. I can also talk about some integrations we have. Right now, you can integrate directly with WordPress. So you can publish, you don't even have to leave content at scale. You can publish right on WordPress. We have Shopify coming up very, very soon, and then HubSpot after that, as well as other content management systems after that. So, can content at scale also identify keywords? So we can, when you input something in, you can input a keyword, you can input a YouTube URL, a blog URL, and several other inputs. But then our system will actually find keywords. Let's say it's called natural language processing, NLP keywords, that you can then optimize your post with. And we actually have a SEO optimization score on the right-hand side that I'm pretty sure you might see a little bit later. So yes, in short, it does pull in additional keywords that help you with your SEO.
Awesome. Thanks for filling in, Josh. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Sorry, you guys. I am dealing with the craziest Texas allergies. And I can just feel my voice is really not doing well today. So dang it. Of all days, this is a good session, but we will get through it. We will get through it. Okay. I'm going to move you back, Josh, to the background and head into this. All right. So how will AI content impact human work? This is a big question. All right. So we were talking, Nelson said AI cough. So writers are no longer needed in this velocity and volume, which is really interesting. So what we can do is shift into less writers, use AI as the baseline writer, and then we can put more effort into the other pieces of content marketing. So in short, we can do better content marketing, right? All the other areas that didn't get attention, we can now give those areas attention. So this is the literal difference if you were to put it side by side. Crazy to see it, that it used to take 10 full-time writers to get to 100 pieces per month. But now, and we're actually doing this, we're proving this by publishing 100 pieces per month on our blog at Content at Scale with one writer. So it's actually happening, and we're proving it. And we have users that are doing this as well. There's a case study I'll walk you through in a little bit where we have somebody that's not even touching the AI. Literally, like they don't have to do any work. Their SEO team is doing all the work, and it's one person and it's hundreds of pieces. So this is really possible, because of what content at scale is and what the technology is capable of. Like you can't do this with ChatGPT. It would be very difficult. So it's true that human-only content writing is now obsolete, and it's really time to shift into what we're calling AIO. So that is the new model of how to approach this. So if we know that AI is faster and better than any human writer, here's the big question. How do we publish AI content without losing the human touch? Well, we keep the human in the process with something we call AIO. So if we break down this model, oh wait, I'm going to come back to that. So really quick to interrupt, here's Josh as Yoda. And I think this is great. Midjourney created this. The outtake was Yoda in Josh's lap. We won't show that one. That one was wild. Okay. So interruptive picture there on purpose to get you guys laughing, hopefully. It's pretty wild. Okay, so back to the AIO model. AI is now your baseline writer, and it really replaces the human. It's better, stronger, and more capable. AI has billions of data points. It's always available. You don't have the problems that you have with a human writer. And the biggest problem, honestly, in content marketing gets solved. The content creation roadblock itself. Like, how do we overcome that? You can overcome that with AI. So the problem in content is fixed with this approach where you can publish a ton of content and still have integrity and that personal touch in your content. That's the AIO approach. So this model comes from actual content at scale users, which we just surveyed in April. And what we're doing is pretty wild. So 50 million words a month, we just stopped doing done for you, but that was at 500,000 words a month with just 3 humans. So insanity in volume. This model is based on what we were actually doing for months successfully. And this is all growing by, 10, 20+% every single month. So in this survey, this is the data that came out of it. Some saw as high as 80% cost savings. The baseline was 60. And if you look at time savings, some saw as high as 300% and as low as 70. And then the profit margin increase was around 40%, sometimes a lot higher. But this is wild to know that we can take our content, reduce cost, make more profit if we include this as a service, and save tons of time in the process. So if we look at the baseline cost, human-only content, I don't know what you've paid for it in the past. I've paid as high as 30 cents a word. I've also been paid that on the human side. I don't do that anymore. So this is what I believe the future is in. At content at scale, you're saving around 11 cents per word. That's average. And then the baseline time, you're saving up to 11 hours. So human only, if you're creating one long form piece, that can take 7 to 12 hours, a lot of time. And that's usually spread over a week. So it's not all done at once. So one of our clients is Journey Engine. They fully adapted to this model, and you can actually grab the SOP I wrote for them. It's also at contentatscale.ai/SOP. If you go straight to that link, and this is what they were paying versus what they now pay. I'm going to bring Josh back for a cough break. Sorry, guys. We're going to get through this. It's going to be good. But Josh, I'll bring you right back for a 2-minute break.
Yeah, this is actually great. I ran and still run some of our Done For You clients. We're sunsetting it right now. So if you have any particular questions, if you're an agency owner or a marketer and have any questions specifically about providing bulk publishing content to clients, I can answer those questions. And I also can plug, we have a brand new user community that's going to be coming out in the next several weeks that we're currently working on. And one of the courses in there is called the AIO Agency Certification. And it's going to show you step by step exactly how we not only got clients, but how we trained our team and how we also fulfilled that content each and every month without dropping anything through the cracks. So that's keyword and topic research for hundreds of topics for each client. And as Julia mentioned, we I think our last full month of Done For You, we published 265 pieces of content of 2,000 words or more. And that was with primarily 3 people. And that's not including myself, a project manager and 2 full-time writers. Colin, I see that you just asked if you would be able to upload directly to Webflow. Webflow, is on our list of things to directly integrate to. So first, it's going to be Shopify. We're already integrated with WordPress, so that it's going to be Shopify, and then HubSpot, and then Webflow and Wix as well. Webflow and Wix are going to be at least a few weeks away. However, Shopify is coming very, very soon. So the trial, Michael, I see your question. The trial gets you a piece of content so you can actually see. It gets you a full length piece of content based on either a keyword that you want to rank for, or key phrase, or a YouTube video URL. You can also use a podcast URL or a blog post URL. So if you find a blog post that you say you want something similar to this, but obviously completely unique and optimized for your site, you can put that blog URL or YouTube URL into Content at Scale, and it'll give you a full piece of content. The Shopify integration is few days to a couple weeks, maybe. It's very, very close to the finish line. We just want to make sure that it's ready to go. HubSpot very soon after that, Colin and Daryl. My question about bulk publishing is about loading large amounts of content into a blog. Does that red flag Google? So great question. It depends. So consistency is key. What we found, we used to, like before, you just publish a bunch of content and it would be fine. But now you really want to keep a solid cadence, a solid pace for your content. So for instance, if you publish a blog a day per weekday, so that's 20 per month, as long as you're continuing to publish content every day, then that signals regular publishing. So you don't want to publish 100 articles and then don't publish anything for 6 months. That actually, it's not necessarily a red flag. I don't want to say that. However, it does show that you're not continually being involved in that community, which is a potential signal for search engines. So we do support other languages. We just actually released a couple days ago that you can natively write in other languages. Before, it would basically prompt and write in English and then translate it to a language, but now it natively writes in those languages. We have a lot of customers who are excited about that. Jeff, this will be the last one. If you're ready to take over, Julie, I can answer one more.
Let's do it. One more.
All right. So how much human interaction are you suggesting or seeing with Content at Scale, or is it not necessary? So I'm never going to tell you to just, publish something without reading it first. So I say treat Content at Scale like a freelancer. As you get more comfortable, you might do less editing with it, but and you might actually, find ways to implement your voice by using our tone of voice detector and things like that, or our tone of voice input. You might find better inputs in terms of like blogs and keywords and things like that. However, I would always suggest to review it. And if you're not happy with the content, you can always rerun it. With Content at Scale, there's a way to rerun it. And then I would definitely run through every single article with Julia's craft framework. So cut the fluff, review, edit, and optimize, add images, fact check, and then build trust. As long as it hits all of those points, it's ready to go. So, but Content at Scale is definitely as close to publish ready as any other AI writer out there.
Well said. And Nelson, you're asking, is it a difficult learning curve? And I don't think it is, but we'll go into that at the very end. Actually pull it up and use it. Okay, so we have more questions, but let's dive right back into this. Josh, I'll bring you back later on. Okay, so getting back into this is what is, I would say, typical, and it's crazy though, because it's a 25x increase. But this is a typical savings of going from a writing agency, which by the way, that's what Journey Engine was using a human writing agency over to implementing the AIO model with AI as the baseline and a human optimizing that content. So these are some of the biggest questions around AI in general. The first one, will Google actually rank this? So let's dive right in. Will Google rank AI content? And some of you might know the answer to this. Like, Paul, I'm sure you already know the answer to this. So last April, Google said AI generated content is completely against their guidelines. What? Whoa. I was like, okay, can't use AI. I started saying that all the time. Well, in October, they said, we never said that. That's what Danny Sullivan said on Twitter publicly. And then they started changing their webmaster guidelines on that date. They actually renamed it to Google Search Essentials, and they started talking about spammy content. They removed their mentions of AI. So fast forward a little bit to February, and this is what they're saying. FAQ inside of the actual Google Search Central blog, is AI content against Google search guidelines? Appropriate use of AI is not against our guidelines. But hey, you can't spam. So there's that. But that's very clear, right? So no matter what you see in the news, no matter what you see in headlines, what's being shared, and I would even say, like, be careful, because a lot of the headlines I've seen, or even LinkedIn posts, they come from people that make money selling you human-only content. So be careful where you get your information from, I would say. And just vet it, like go straight to the Google's blog and you'll see this. It is not against their guidelines. So pretty clear. But like Josh was saying, we can't remove the human process. That is critical. Yes, it got way less. And even my craft framework, like the release of our 2.0 version of our app, means that the implementation of my framework, where you're cutting the fluff, you're optimizing it, you're building trust with story, that actually gets less. So your time is from hours to an hour, and then eventually 30 minutes, and then eventually 10 minutes. That's where we're headed with the content at scale technology. And I think that's amazing, right? Like going back to even our founder story, and this is a tangent, but he did SEO content for years, and this was his dream. How do we do it in minutes? So that's happening with this technology. Honestly, that's why I'm here. Okay, rabbit hole aside, what's the second elephant? Who owns the copyright? Oh my gosh, I was answering DMs last night. Julia, can I publish this stuff? I don't know. Am I going to get sued? I answer these questions all the time. Again, be careful who you listen to. So remember that ChatGPT has passed the bar. It can give you answers that are somewhat legally sound. I'm not saying you should fire your attorney. Definitely not saying that. But what I am saying is that the legal industry will be impacted by AI. It's just a matter of time. So if you're getting your news from lawyers, take it with a grain of salt. Vet it. Again, go straight to the source. So here's what the U.S. Copyright Office says. If a work was created by an AI system, then the copyright is owned by the person who owns the AI system or has exclusive rights to it. So that's interesting. And by the way, that's for text. The verdict is still to be out on images. In fact, the Copyright Office says we cannot copyright images. So be careful. When it comes to ChatGPT, the question is, well, will they pass the copyright down to me? That's what you need to ask. And this is why I would never publish a book written by ChatGPT, never make royalties off of their content, because if you ask ChatGPT this question, they're not even clear on the answer. So they actually defer it to the courts. But if you use a proprietary technology stack that's built with the GPT model, which is now open source, they're releasing APIs, then you actually retain more copyright ownership. So that's a fact about AI and copyright. So content at scale, that's a proprietary technology. You can trust that something the founder has done, the leadership team has done, is pass that copyright down to the end user. So that is a reason why I'm here at Content at Scale. This was a big question I had. Well, can I publish this content? If I'm publishing a 10,000 word piece, I don't want Microsoft coming after me. That's going to suck. So a great reason to trust a proprietary stack. So this is the third elephant. How do you make sure you don't lose the human touch? Big question. So AI detectors exist. You can use these to make sure your content is actually reads like a human wrote it. Originality.ai is one of the leaders. This is a content score that was wildly inaccurate. So AI detectors in general, they're going to have false positives because they're trained on human content. So keep that in mind. And there's GPT-0. Again, I've gotten a lot of false positives with this one as well. It was built for education, so essays. And of course, we have an AI detector, one of the first free tools, or it's the only free tool, but it was one of the first critical parts of content at scale. So the team is always making this better. And it's actually inside of our app now. So you can run it and detect if your content reads human-like right there in the app. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so before we get into writing content with content at scale, because I want to show you how this actually works, let's talk about an 8-figure AI-driven content strategy. And I just talked to someone in the digital marketer team. You know, they're a leader in education for marketing, and they are adapting to a solo marketer AI content strategy. So big companies out there are shifting into this because honestly, like, why would you not? It's going to save you so much time and effort. You know, like we talked about in the redistribution of work, you used to have to hire 100 writers to get a large scale campaign going. You used to have to hire 10 full-time writers for 100 pieces. You don't have to do that anymore. You can make your writer the optimizer, have them drive the AI engine and get amazing content. So the first step in assembling what will be your 7-8-figure content strategy is you do need to reroute your humans. So if you have writers, if you don't have writers, go hire these people. But this is how you reduce your content creation costs. You get to know the machine, you find people that can run it. So get your content at scale, log in, start using it, hand it off to your human. And it doesn't always have to be a writer. It can actually be an SEO person. It could be an editor. So tap into the people that you have in your team and teach them how to use it. So again, our SOP will really guide you through this. I wrote it actually for Journey Engine. So wrote it directly for an agency that implemented the AIO process. You can download it at this link, contentscale.ai/SOP. So the next step you're going to do is commit to a consistent publishing schedule. So HubSpot did a study, they've done multiple, showing that the more content you have, the more traffic, the more ROI you get out of your content. So don't just do, a blog here and there. One of the reasons we're called Content at Scale is to reinforce the idea of scaling your content, which equals scaling your traffic. So great content, more of it. Great traffic, more of it. You can get as high as a 13x ROI on your content if you simply publish more. I see this all the time. My entire businesses the last 10 years have been built on this concept of scaling your content. So you can hit these numbers just through consistently publishing great content on a website that's built for it. So again, a 13x ROI if you just increase your amount of content. Crazy. Go from less than monthly, go to 2 to 6 posts per week, see way better results. So how do you do effective keyword research? Josh, you know this. I know this is something you're doing in the Done For You team. So I'd love if you could talk through these points. I'm going to bring you back to do that because I think that would be awesome. And I'm not coughing right now. It's a legitimate reason. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. So we use SEMrush primarily for keyword research, and it doesn't have to be difficult. One thing that I learned in creating these courses for the community is that we like to keep as much simple as possible, because when you're bulk publishing content, things can get really confusing. So what we like to start out with are 3 to 5 broad topics for any sort of keyword and topic research. So for instance, one of the examples I used was a residential plumbing service that had franchises across the US. So that's an example maybe you could take for yourself, obviously put to whatever product or service that you have. So this company obviously wouldn't want to target commercial plumbing. They wouldn't want to target how to become a plumber, keywords like that. So one of the broad terms that you would do is just home plumbing, residential plumbing, things like that. And you can use those broad terms once you come up with 3 to 5, like fixing toilets, fixing, installing faucets, things like that. Broad, big topics. You could put those into SEMrush, and SEMrush has the ability to search for informational keywords or even questions, which is great for content at scale because we focus on long form informative content. You can also go on YouTube and then put that in the search bar. And YouTube, if I had the ability to share screen, which I don't, it's fine. You can actually filter by channel. So if you put home plumbing into YouTube and filter by channel, it's going to bring up every single channel that it thinks covers home plumbing. And that opens up like so many topics, including, why is my bathroom making this kind of noise, or tankless water heaters and things like that. So you can take that particular use case into your product or service. You could also do it for blogs. So you can Google home plumbing plus blogs, which is another great one. Because content at scale, we used to, just a few weeks ago, you could only put in an actual keyword or key phrase that you wanted to rank for. But now you can put in YouTube videos, links, you could put in blog post URLs, and you can put in iTunes podcast links. And we're actually working on doing YouTube podcasts and Spotify podcasts as well. So Dom, I see you asked where you can add the tone of voice. Yeah, you can update that in the project settings. Someone had a great question about tone of voice. While our AI doesn't necessarily learn your tone of voice as you go, our tone of voice, we have several preset options, but you can put anything you want in there. You want to sound like Tony Stark, you can type in Tony Stark and it will try to do Tony Stark. You can put in whatever you want and it will try to write in that tone of voice. So if there's someone who's decently well known, has a good body of work online, and you want to sound like them, give it a shot. And as I mentioned, if you're unhappy with the output, you don't really like that tone of voice, you can rerun articles within Content at Scale as well with a different tone of voice. So if you change your tone of voice in Content at Scale on the project settings, you can even use Yoda as a tone of voice. But don't show our AI the picture of me as Yoda, because that would be awful. But yeah, you can change the tone of voice, save the settings, and then rerun that article, and it'll rerun in the new tone of voice. So you can test those out.
Awesome stuff. Josh has been doing so much of the keyword research, and we just launched, you guys, I don't know if you know this, we just launched a free year of content strategy at any $500 per month plus plan. So that's insane. When Justin and the team launched that, I was like, this is insane. I would go for it if I was a user, no doubt about it. So you can get an entire year of content strategy done for you. And that's human content research. Like, we've actually trained and staffed content strategists that deliver that as a service. So, like, again, at Content at Scale, you're saving so much. I mean, I sound like such a fangirl, but it's why I'm here. Like, you can replace tools, you can replace people, or optimize and reroute your people, and really get lean and mean with your content production. Game changer. So everything Josh was saying about keyword research, good stuff. If you're working with a brand new site, think about broad and phrase match searches. I've seen low competition keywords do really well on brand new sites. I've seen people with a 3 or a 10 DA rank in the top of Google because they found their low competition keyword. So what that actually means is a keyword that has like 4 to 5 to 6 even words in it, like how to groom my Labradoodle versus just Labradoodle, right? And then you're getting more specific with the people that are actually going to buy a service for grooming a Labradoodle. So if you think about it like that, you can really go after some magic keywords. And if you run them in Content at Scale, you get content ready to rank in minutes. And we're going to go into that because we're almost wrapped up and heading into showing you the actual technology. Okay, let's keep going. So for a full content strategy, by the way, that breaks down our keyword research approach, go to this URL, contentatscale.ai/keywords. Good stuff. So if you run through these points, the last one let's just run through all of them. First, you're going to reroute or hire humans as optimizers. I think Josh mentioned Dom. He is doing this and fantastic at it, helping writers acclimate it. And by the way, if you go and hire a writer and you teach them how to be an optimizer, like you're saving incomes and livelihoods because this is not known. This is so new. And some writers are being told not to even use AI by, again, the bad players that want to make money off of fear. And that's a tangent there. But if you do this, you're really helping the freelance workforce adapt. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're running a business, and you go hire writers, train them to become AIO, you're doing people a favor. And that's amazing. That's amazing because the future of content is AI. There's no question. So then the next step, you're going to scale that content once you have the people that can run the machine. And then do it for yourself. Don't just resell it as a service. Grow your own website. Don't be the cobbler not building his own shoes for his kids. Create your shoes and sell your shoes too. So this is what we do at Content at Scale. It's something I love doing, is making a case study out of content for a content-driven service. And, it's proof that you can do it too. You can use this machine to fuel your own marketing. Have one human, hundreds of pieces of content, get your marketing very lean, very profitable, and then resell that as a service if you're doing marketing. So there's just room, like the sky is the limit with the margin increase, and not just that, but like the freedom of time and thought that starts to open up, because writing is hard. It used to be the biggest stressor in the room, and we have that completely removed by technology like Content at Scale. So again, grab that SOP. It's really good. It'll walk you through exactly how to train your writer. It has like the best tutorials we've done, step by step. Here's how to take your writer, make them AIO. So download that, contentatScale.ai/SOP. Okay. So this is really cool. This is a case study of an actual client using Content at Scale to produce, content at scale and traffic at scale. So Tony Erickson runs several niche sites. They're bigger niche sites. He has copywriting.org, and they're content driven, and he monetizes those websites. So he said he was able to do 6 months of content and domain growth in 1 month. So he shortened the time span and the work involved, and he didn't have to hire a single human writer. That should probably be the headline, because hiring writers can be the hardest thing in the world. So the fact that he eliminated that is incredible. And he didn't even have to touch the machine. He actually gave Content at Scale to his SEO guy. And that person ran all the keywords, edited the content, and published that content. So content to build traffic and a website, you can do that 10 times easier with Content at Scale. Copywriting.org, Troy's site, it went from 6 NDA to 20 just doing content in 1 month. And now he's on the agency plan. He's scaling. He's doing over 100 posts per month on that website. He said this would have been impossible to do without this technology, because he runs other businesses. Like, how hard this would be if you had to hire writers? It is probably 2 full-time jobs. So he was able to do this while running another successful business, basically on the side. So again, the AIO model really proves that you can have success without having a huge team. You can hit those serious traffic numbers and income from that traffic by adapting to the process of having AI as the baseline writer and a human as the optimizer driving the machine. So this comes from, if you didn't catch the beginning, we went over this model. This comes from surveying active Content at Scale users. This is the cost and time savings, actual pennies per word. It's more, it's over a dime per word, and then hours per piece. And the average savings can be hundreds of dollars depending on how much content you're producing. Like just 2 pieces of content can be over $200 of savings, because you're paying like $30 for a blog or $20 using Content at Scale versus hundreds if it was human only. And then the time, you're generating this stuff in minutes versus hours, if not days and weeks. So this is important, and this is why I studied AI for a long time before adapting myself, because I didn't want to add more work. The worst thing in the world is like opening ChatGPT and trying to have it do something it can't do. So using the right tools is critical. It's critical. I don't know if you've ever used ChatGPT to write SEO content. I tried multiple times. I even trained the model a little bit by having it get to know me. You got to add context to this. And I don't hate ChatGPT. I actually use it for emails, headlines, a whole bunch of marketing content. I'd love to know if you're using ChatGPT. Tell us in the comments. But you cannot. You can. It would take way too much time to write it, to use it to write long form content. You can, but it's so difficult. This is what happened when I tried to use it. You can see in the screenshots, it consistently broke. So I couldn't even get an actual full piece out of it. And then if you dug into the content it wrote, it was mediocre at best and just plain crap at worst that I couldn't even publish under my name. So I couldn't add ChatGPT into my workflow, for long form content. I had my writer look at it. She came up with the same findings. It's almost impossible to integrate this and have a usable tool that actually saves you time and money, which is critical. So with content at scale, which is what we're here talking about, this is the technology that creates that long form content in minutes. And you can edit and publish within an hour of generating a piece. So you don't have to hire writers. You don't have to spend 7+ hours. You don't have to wait 2 weeks for this to come back. You can literally generate it in minutes, and it has everything it needs to rank in the top of Google. And these are some of the new features. We're releasing some, I would say, almost every other week. The technology gets better and better. This is a 100% bootstrap company. There's no VC funding. So it is literally entrepreneurs making this better. Shout out to our founder, Justin McGill, who's always doing this. So a couple new things. If you haven't seen it, there's a trial offer live where you can actually test it out for next to nothing, $25, $39. You'll see once you step into our invitation. So request an invite. If you're completely new here, you haven't used it. I know Paul's used it. He's already in. Dom. But if you're brand new, you can go to our homepage, contentscale.ai, request your invitation, and then you'll actually see how to sign up for this trial offer. So contentscale.ai, sign up for the invitation, keep an eye on your inbox, and you'll get that link where you can sign up for the trial offer. Paul says he's loving the updates in the UI and the new features. Amazing. We've had so many requests for the native language writing. I was just talking to someone yesterday who needs to write 100% content in German. And the reason we didn't launch this quickly was because we wanted it to write good content, not just translate. If you've ever Google translated something, like it just reads as a translation. It's not actually natively writing in that language. Our tool does that now. So this new release means that it writes 100% native language in almost any language you need. So that's pretty amazing. And this is a fully integrated solution. So Content at Scale directly integrates to your website. It used to be just WordPress. It's now also Shopify. So you can directly integrate your Shopify site. I know we have a Shopify site owner, Jackie Alcorn. If she doesn't know, I need to go tell her. She's fully built on Shopify using Content at Scale. So that means you can seamlessly publish content to your website directly from our app. The goal is you don't have to lift a finger eventually. You can publish long-form inbound content, that traffic building content easily. Like that's our number one goal. SEO content is easy. That's not easy to do. You've done content. Most of you already have. Content's not easy. So this is next level stuff. Okay, so we can go through my screenshots and kind of show you how this works, but why don't we actually do it? Why don't we write content using Content at Scale together? So if you want to do that, let me know in the comments. And what I'd love to do is pick one of you to actually write something for. So if you have a content strategy and a website, that's all we need. Really, if you just have a website, that's all we need. So let's write a long form blog for one of you and go through that process together. And as we're waiting for somebody to just let us know in the comments that you would like to take me up on this. So we just need a website and an idea for a keyword. So if you have a keyword, put that in the comments. And I believe Jeff and Josh will look through those. And we will pick one to write for. And you'll get to see the magic of how to actually use the tool. So I'll bring Josh right back up. Josh, maybe you could talk through the framework for a second while I grab some water.
Yeah, sure. I do want to say I have it on good authority that Shopify will be out. I'll say early next week, just to make sure. But the Shopify integration out early next week, so that's pretty exciting stuff. So yeah, Julia came up with the craft framework. It's a great way. It's a great acronym to figure out the steps you need to go through when you see a draft come from Content at Scales AI. So the steps, as I'm sure she'll elaborate on a little bit before we get to the live example, is cut the fluff. So you just want to give it a quick read through. Sometimes our AI is definitely the best out there for this, but sometimes AI can issue some repetitive sentences, maybe some odd, characters and things like that for formatting. So you definitely want to cut that out. The next step is review, edit, and optimize. This is more of you're going through and you're making sure that it sounds like your voice. You're editing, that sentence isn't the way that I would say that. And you're optimizing it as well using our SEO optimization features, which we pull in, again, all of that NLP or natural language processing data, which basically is a way to say other articles that rank for this use these terms in their content as well. And the way that our SEO scoring system works is as you insert those into your content, the score goes up and gives you a better idea of your SEO optimization. So you're reviewing, editing, and optimizing there. Next step is adding images, visuals, media. You can link to YouTube videos. As a matter of fact, if you use a YouTube video, it will link it in the article. So you can, add those visual elements that sort of build engagement and keep people on the page longer and scrolling, which helps with the Google algorithm, especially their new EEAT and helpful content updates. So, okay. And then next up would be fact check. Content at Scale external links to different sites, but you definitely want to make sure that, the link is good. Make sure that the content that it pulled in is good as well. Just give it a quick fact check. And then trust build. So build trust with personal story, tone, links. Like we mentioned before, you can change your tone of voice in the project settings and have it write just about, anyone that you can think of, including you if you have an established site as well. So let me... that's the craft framework. Like Julia said, Justin is trying very, very hard to make the uppercase craft become a lowercase craft, and we're pretty much there. But then over time, he wants to make it to where it's almost published ready from the get-go. Just give it a quick review and then put it on your site.
Which blows my mind.
Yeah.
This used to take so much time, just each of these points. I've built courses on each of these points that were like a week to learn. So it's unbelievable. I see Paul has a keyword. Jeff, do you see, what would you think is the best if we have like multiple people? Let us know. Otherwise, we could just go with Paul's keyword, learning management systems. Maybe we could frame that to be, okay, Jeff does have a keyword. How? It's a how-to keyword. All right. Josh, would you like to stay on and maybe you can interject as I walk through,
Sure.
the demo, and then we could kind of tackle that together. Okay, cool. Let's do it. All right. So I'm going to switch over to another screen here. Let me pick my window versus the entire screen. Let's see. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to show you how Content at Scale actually works. All right. Can you see it? Does it show up, Josh?
Yeah, I see it.
Perfect. All right. So this is the actual app. I'm going to log in and we're going to have it write. Jeff found a keyword for us. Jeff, could you also tell me their website? So the keyword is how dentists can relieve TMJ with orthotics. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that phrase right. That is a great keyword. It's a specific how-to phrase. Okay, so we don't have a site for this. So let's just create what I want to do is show you the steps, right? So first you do need to create a project before you create the content. So let's just say, let's pick a dental website from Google and we will create it for that website. Okay. So let's just say we're creating this for this website, Dental Solutions Creating Smiles. Because what you want to do is give it some project context on top of having it write the actual content. I found it just produced the best content this way. So step 1, you're creating a project, and then step 2, you're having it write. Okay, so we're just going to fill this out. Project context. What I usually do for this field is I'll pull this from the homepage headline. And it usually, like, you can find a summary. And this is great, by the way, if you're doing content as a service for your clients. Like, this is a great way to do it. So right here, it won't let me copy. Oh, my shortcut is dead. Well, okay. So we're going to type that out. So let's see. I'm going to start with the company name. Provides dental solutions for patients in Philadelphia. And that's good enough. That way, we are giving this some context as to what the project is all about. So what's the website all about? Target audience. So this would be dental patients. If we have a specific type of person named, you know, like this, if this was a coaching service for a specific person, like an expert, that, let's say they're a specific niche expert, like a tax accountant, you want to name who that person is in this field. So for this target audience, we're just going to say dental patients. Keep it pretty broad. And then down here, you can pick your translation language, right? We were just talking about that. So any language you want to write in is right there. Tone of voice for this, I would pick informative. That would be a good tone for a dental firm that wants to help dental patients. You can, like Josh was saying, pick from all of these, or you can actually type in something. Okay, so now we have our project. Going to click create. That's done. Now we're going to go find that project and start creating content. Okay. So the keyword I have from Jeff is how dentists can relieve TMJ with orthotics. So we're going to go with that. You can also have Content at Scale actually write content from an existing blog post, from a podcast episode, a YouTube video, or even a custom audio file. So more than one sources of input, more than one way to skin the cat. And something we've seen our users do that is also pretty successful is they'll take a top ranking blog from Google, use this, and actually have the tool rewrite it. Okay, so let's stick with the keyword. I'm going to type it in. How dentist okay, and we'll leave the word count alone. And for this, I'm actually not going to add context. So one thing that our tool does is it looks at the top of Google, takes insights from that, and rewrites. So it's going to do the research necessary to produce something that'll rank in the top of Google for that keyword. So that means if you add context, and let's say that context is not based on what's ranking in the top of Google, you could actually lead the tool wrong. So keep that in mind. And of course, if you don't like it, you know, you can rerun it and add context. But I think it's worth seeing what this will do without context. Let's see. So we're going to go ahead and click create content now. You can save it to a backlog called the content planner. You can customize. It'll show you the outline of the article, and you can actually generate the headlines by clicking customize, and you can click into those headings. You can add more detail. So it writes those on the spot. Look at that. There's the structure of our headline. Pretty good. And what I usually do is, you know, if I'm writing this for and with a client, I will run some of this. I'll run this by the client. Not that they have to see the outline first, but this is in reference to the article written. So I will ask them, how accurate is this? And I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, like, it's been really accurate, which is so cool. Okay, so it's added to the queue. We'll come back in a couple minutes and we'll be able to actually see the content. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I did want to say on inputting a URL, so a blog post URL, a YouTube URL, or a podcast or MP3 URL. It's not just rewriting that content. I know if anyone is more than a few years into their SEO experience, you probably remember content spinners from several years ago. It is not that. Basically, what RAI does is it'll read the content if it's a blog. It'll read the transcript of the YouTube video if it's a video or a podcast. And then it takes that and actually creates an outline very similar to what Julia just showed you in the customize section. And then it starts its research on the web. So it writes a completely fresh article. It's not rewritten content at all. It's just basically taking that to learn about the topic, create an outline based on the things mentioned in the video or the podcast, and then going and doing its research and creating a completely fresh piece of content.
That's a good differentiator. It's easy to say rewrite because you get a new piece of content, but not always is that what that means. So right. That's a good way to explain it. Paul says he omitted the context and it did a great job. That's cool. Let me refresh and see if we have it ready to check out. Okay, still in the queue. How long do we typically see, Josh? Is it like still 4 to 7 minutes?
Yeah, few minutes. It depends. So we're on a rotating article queue. So if it's, if there are a lot of articles in there, it might be a slightly slower, but not, super long. We've done a lot of work to make sure that that's a lot faster. I'm seeing some questions come in. Do you want me to start to maybe tackle those?
Great idea. Let's do some Q&A.
All right.
Yes.
From a personal video, you can, so say if you had an MP3 file, if you had a podcast, I know that you can upload that to like a file sharing site and get a URL. I will check on the MP4. I know we have some people who can answer that listening. And then I can get back with you on that. But I do know that if you have an MP3 that you can upload it to a file sharing site, get that URL, and then put it into the custom URL audio, and it will work. I will get back. I will figure out the MP4, and as soon as I hear back, I'll let you know. Process for hiring AIOs. Thank you. I actually almost forgot about this. I saw a lot of questions around hiring. Believe it or not, we just use a common HR software. It's called Viva HR. You could use Breezy. You could use others, and we put up a job description, and we have a lot of applicants come through. And I don't want to give away too much. This is actually in the AIO agency certification that's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. But one of our secrets is to do a chat interview, a live chat interview. So this isn't, speaking with someone face to face, but it's actually having a written text conversation with them. Because Julia, I don't even know if we've talked about this. It is one of the best and easiest ways to find out if someone can have a fluid conversation, which is super important when it comes to writing engaging content.
Yes. How do you facilitate that?
Actually, yeah, Andy, our project manager, she'll invite them to have a conversation with us on Facebook. So it's just over the company Facebook chat.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, they ask the questions back and forth. So finding them, obviously the typical, answers, job boards, or put a job opening like we do on Viva HR. That's where we found several awesome writers that we still have working with us. And yeah, we always have the Facebook chat interview, and we never even do a face-to-face interview. We, go off of their, chat interview, and we offer them the job that way.
That's really smart, because just what you said, conversational writing. That's the writing that sticks out. So how well can you write a conversation on the internet? That's a great test. Love that.
Okay. And it's just MP3 currently. So hopefully MP4 is definitely on the horizon, but right now it's just MP3. Now, very soon you will have the ability to you can upload PDF and documents and have it rewrite that. So if you have some old I know, Julia, you probably do too, some content that's just in a folder somewhere that you never turned into a client or you never published.
Yeah.
So you could, it's very soon take that document and put it into content at scale and get another piece of content out of it.
Amazing. Wow.
I see Dom asks, oh wait, he's asking other people a question. That's awesome. For the content strategy bonus, how fast is the turnaround after subscribing and what kind of information do you need to create it? And for a site being launched. Yeah, it doesn't matter if the site is live or launched or not. We just need to know like a little bit, as Julia mentioned, a little bit of the context so we understand what type of content you're looking for. And we always ask for those 3 to 5 broad terms. And we also ask for 3 to 5 competitors. If you have those things, you can develop a content strategy pretty quickly. Usually we have a 2 or 3 day turnaround on it, and we'll give you 12 months of topics if you're on the starter plan or above. So that's something we've developed. It's a little bit of keyword research, a little bit of YouTube research, and competitor blog research as well.
That is such a great bonus. And you know what's crazy is how you did this, Josh. You went and staffed a whole team around that. So you guys, if you do content strategy, you know how hard it is to come up with topics, research that's relevant, good, going to produce traffic. So I think that bonus alone is worth easily, if not more, the cost of that monthly subscription. I just talked to a business owner who was paying, I think it was $3,500 for 25 topics. So that is an insane deal to offer for free a year of content. Just saying. Great bonus.
Yeah, we've had a really good response to it. Like Julia mentioned, we do have a team that's been trained on our process that we've been using ever since we started. So yeah, it's been really good.
Amazing.
What about historical material? Prescott, I am not exactly sure what you mean. However, if you find a blog that has the historical information that you want to cover and you put that in there, you can, like I said, the AI will use that to create an outline based on those topics in there, and then go from there. And if you're unhappy with that product, you can definitely rerun it as well. More about the agency certification. Definitely not surprised to hear people ask about this. We've had a lot of great response from agency owners. Yes, so we're going to have an agency certification. It's going to be inside of our new community that's coming up. I have wrapped all of the recording and all of the editing, except for the actual intro video. And it's essentially 3 phases. I'll talk a little bit about it. The first one is finding the roles, the people that you need to have a bulk publishing agency. And what I mean by bulk publishing is that you're publishing at least 20 articles per month for one client. This is what we did for our Done For You service. We offered 20, sometimes 50, even 100 or more articles per client in a month. And so the first section of the course talks about the people that you need, which is mainly a project manager and an AIO writer. But you can also add a designer as well as a team lead, depending on how many clients you have. And, as things get a little bit more complicated. The second course is clients, how to get clients. It's actually, most of that is a interview I did with Justin. It's about a 45-minute interview where we talked about the origin of Content at Scale's agency days, how he attracted clients, how he overcame their objections, and then, the entire sales process, how he got them over the finish line. It was a very, very valuable interview, I think. But then we also talk about providing quality content, how you can, ensure your clients stay for month 2, month 3, and beyond. And then, because during our agency days, about 7 or 8 and 10 stayed multiple months. And as I mentioned, we still have some that are, stuck to us even after we've sunset the program. So, and then the final is Systems at Scale. It's probably the most in-depth, over an hour of content where I show specifically the process that we use to do keyword research, make sure we keep track of all of those things, and actually fulfill the client's order month after month without losing track of everything, which is probably the most difficult thing to do. But with our system, it's really, really easy. It's not complicated. You don't have to set up very intricate task management systems or anything like that. So, but that is coming out in the next couple of weeks. To get access to that, you have to be a Content at Scale user, and you'll be invited into the community where you can get the agency certification and take that anytime. We're also going to be launching a agency partner program where if you become AIO agency certified, you'll get a certification badge, and then you can actually potentially be listed on our agency page. So when we have all of those people who want to use Content at Scale, they just don't have the time to do the craft process themselves, and they want to partner with an agency, your agency would be there to answer that call. So,
so much value. We have
so be on the lookout for that.
Come out. Yeah.
Like I said, the course is rapid,
stuff.
but we're going to start emailing and getting people into the community where you'll be able to access that. Does that domain factor into the content that is created? So, Scott, I'm assuming that you mean, does Content at Scale look at your current site, all the content on it, and then use that in creating results? No, it doesn't do that. It does take your project context and your target audience into account, and your tone of voice, and then it uses primarily your input, so the YouTube video, the key phrase, and it uses that to create the content. So, for instance, if you mentioned Philadelphia and the dental example that we have here, the AI might actually put Philadelphia area, dental references in there. All right.
Well, the status, I'm going to hover. If you hover, this is really cool. You can actually see where the status is at. So a line by line, it's 60% done. The SERP analysis is done. FAQs are written. So it's just waiting on 2 last things. So can't wait to show you guys what this looks like. If you haven't seen it, I know some of you have, you're already users. It's really crazy to open a AI written piece and see everything you need to rank at the top of Google. Like, it's pretty crazy. And you still need to do some work. The goal is, like we've been talking about, to get that down less and less. If you think about our craft framework, like, this is what you would want to do to make it better. You're going to think about it like from an editor's perspective. How do we make this content better? How do we remove fluff? It's funny, and Josh, I know you know this, hiring writers, this is the same approach I would take for a human writer. There's a lot of fluff that you tend to write when you're just not sure about humanly writing your content. So you tend to write bogus words. You need to remove those. So the same approach with AI. The reason I think to adapt to AI is that it's getting better and better. And so one day soon, like, this framework will be literally minutes, and you'll be able to have something that knows you, knows your style, does the fact checking, and you'll see in this content piece, like, Content at Scale is fact checking. That's something that ChatGPT does not do. And what's happening in Content at Scale, it's pulling in links as citations. So you actually have a source linked to for that content. And I'll tell you, back when I found Content at Scale early this January, that was my question to our founder, Justin. What are you going to do for the fact-checking piece? Because that's critical. If you guys publish content, you know how critical that is. Your facts better be accurate, or that client may not pay you the money, and you might not get traffic that trusts you. So the fact that this tool actually does that is not just a time saver, but it's also a way to get better content without, lifting a finger. Like, your work in this is so minimal. And I've tested so many tools, continue to test them week by week. And it's hard to find a tool that stacks up to Content at Scale. It truly is. And I know, like I said, I sound like such a fangirl. You're going to be able to see it soon for yourself. Oh, cool. It's ready for optimization. Okay, so let me refresh and see if we can dive right into it. Yep, we can. So just from this dashboard, it's a 4,000 word post. We have a title written, how dentists can relieve TMJ with orthotics top methods. Like, that's pretty accurate to what you would want to see in a blog. Okay, so let's just dive right into it and see how it looks. So this is the editor that you're inside of whenever you have content. Look at this, Josh. It's 78 without
78.
any. Oh, okay. So I have to show you. I'm wearing. Are you wearing the shirt?
Yeah.
We have to show them.
Yeah.
So the goal was at the beginning, and this is why this is so exciting. The goal at the beginning that Justin had was to create something that was so good you could publish almost straight out of AI. So, like, we're proving that, right? This is a 76% optimized score. And what that means is you have your links, you have your keywords, it's past 3,000 words, 3,600. So you're meeting that on-page SEO checklist. And all you're doing at this point, maybe it's not you, maybe it's your writer, like Troy, right? He had his SEO person jump in here. So at this point, you're just making it better, and then you're hitting publish. So let's scroll through it. I want to show you guys what this looks like. So it's writing all of this content. This is original. Over here on the right, we can actually verify that this content is original. So if we go into the research tab, we can click plagiarism, and we can actually have so this is another tool that you're saving. You don't have to pay for this tool. This is Copyscape. If you're familiar with it, I used it for 10 years. The cost went up to use Copyscape. I think it's now $0.25 per search. It would be more for 3,600 words. Yeah. So when it comes back 0%, that means, you didn't have any hits. This is 100% original content. You can also run it through the AI detector. And let's see what score comes back there. So this predicts how human-like will this content be. Look at that, 90% human-like. That's amazing. Amazing. So if we scroll through, my goodness, look at these terms. Like, would you as a writer know these terms? And I've talked about this with so many users, like just researching how to write these terms, how to explain them. So you're saving all of that work by having AI do it for you. AI has access to billions of data points. So let's look at some of these headlines. And this is a crazy table of contents. You have non-surgical treatments, self-management techniques, orthotic treatment combined with physical therapy. We're naming specific types of physical therapists. We're talking about specific types of adjustments, chiropractic care, oral appliances. To research and write this, oh my gosh, would take.
Or to wait for a freelancer to research and write this. And I think that's
start?
the biggest. Yeah, sitting down with, another tool like, maybe ChatGPT, since everyone knows that one, to put something like this together would take, at least a couple hours, few hours. And then you'd have to pull it off of that system and then put it into, Google Drive or whatever you'd like. But to wait, 5 minutes and have a draft that you can just go through and craft. I mean, that's it's definitely no prompts were needed here. It went out and did the research for you. And then also on the other side of things, you didn't have to wait for a freelancer to get this output. It was 5 minutes. So it's really the best of both worlds. You get the AI created content, but it's like having a freelancer who's ready on call any time of the day or night.
It's true. AI does not go hungry. It doesn't go missing. So those are,
doesn't decide to become a digital nomad.
Right. True. This is such good content. I'm still amazed by how good this piece is. And that's, critical if you're delivering this as a service or like you're in a niche, like this is the dental niche, better know what you're talking about. You're guiding people on pain relief, on, managing things that affect their quality of life. So that's Google's highest standards of care, or highest search standards, the EAT acronym, double E, and then YMYL, your money or your life. Like, you have to have really good content. So some perspective, whenever I was hiring writers, this would go for like 30, 35 cents a word. And I think at Content and Scale, it's less than a penny per word, depending on what plan you get. So just have to point that crazy part out. But you saw it for yourself. Like, it wrote this and it's good content. We could use this. We could integrate directly to our website and publish this. This can connect straight to WordPress right now. So if we go into the project area and the integrations, we can connect this to our WordPress website. It'll do that automatically. You just download the WordPress plugin and then you upload that to your website. And you can connect, by the way, you can connect individual projects with your individual API keys. So this is perfect if you're an agency reseller of content services. So over here on the project tab, integrations, and you can see Shopify is our next one. I think I said it was out, so I jumped the gun a little bit there. But like
early
Josh
next
said,
week.
There we go. That's as good as out. I mean, almost out. So you can integrate directly to WordPress right now. And then we have more on the horizon too, more integrations. So I think at this point, why don't we answer some more questions? I know we planned for an hour and a half and we are almost at the end of that. It's 12:20.
Yeah.
So we have 10 minutes left. So
I see white label, the white label question. Yeah. So you can actually provide your clients with a version of Content at Scale that basically shows that it's yours. Also, the WordPress plugin, if your client's on WordPress, would show up with your logo as well. So essentially, you can give your clients a guest login, and they can check out finished content to approve it directly in Content at Scale before you deliver it. Or you could just provide them the login so they could check progress periodically. So that way, if they want to see how many you've done throughout the month as well. So that's a little bit about the white label. It's very, very simple to set up, just a few things within the back end there. If that answers your question, or if you have more. Javier, it looks, okay. Yeah, you pay per credit. So essentially this, what Julia just ran would be 1 credit, and it is 3,600 words. That also includes that it comes with a table of contents. It comes with those key takeaways that you can see throughout the article. It also comes, at the end of it, we have an FAQ section, which comes in Google's QA schema to potentially show up on that people also ask section for tougher to rank keywords as well. And these are all automations that you can also turn on or off if you'd like within the settings of your project as well. So it is one credit per input. So whether that's a keyword, a YouTube link, or podcast link. So images don't appear within the content. However, in just a couple of days, it will automatically put a featured image to your article. It'll choose something that is fitting to your topic. That'll be out in just a couple of days, and you can change that as well if you didn't like what the system picked for you. But the score, the word count, all of those metrics do appear once you actually open the document. As you can see, this opened up with a 76, which is really, really impressive. There aren't any limits. However, sometime, Prescott, there are URLs or YouTube videos that don't work. If that's the case, if you're ever in the app and you have an issue, you can reach out at the bottom right-hand corner with the chat icon, and our support team will get on that. If it turns out that URL couldn't be ran, we would just credit you back and you could run a different URL. But yeah, sometimes, we've actually fixed almost all of those issues now. So there are no URLs that don't run typically, but obviously never say never. There can definitely be some that don't. Yes, this is being recorded and we will ship this out afterwards, right, Julia? That's been a question.
Definitely. Yep. We'll send it out through email.
Khalid, yes. Credits all roll over if they're not used. I see about bigger packages. Yes, we do. So we have plans for 8, 20, 50, and 100 credits per month. If you needed more than that, and we do have several clients who need more than that, we can we have several custom packages that we have to offer. Yes, you can link more than one WordPress site at once. It just has to have its own project. So, for instance, if you had a dental client, that would have its own individual WordPress API key, which is how it would connect. And then if you had another client with another WordPress site, you could hook that one up to the same WordPress plugin, but it would have its own unique API key. No, actually, that's a great question. It doesn't cost one more credit if you want to add new paragraphs. And actually, Julia, if you would click that little addition symbol right next to the rewrite.
Addition symbol.
In the editor.
Oh, got it. Right here?
The more rich options. Yeah, there you go. That H, if you put your cursor anywhere within the article, you can insert a custom AI heading. So essentially, if you wanted to write something about TMJ orthotics and, do they hurt or, obviously I'm not a dentist, but you can put your cursor wherever you'd like a custom section, put in the heading, just as Julia is showing now, add additional context if you like, and then the AI will write a paragraph or actually a whole H2 section within the content, and it does not cost an additional credit.
It's crazy to wrap your mind around. This is not per word, because we come from a world where you're paying per word. And so this would be over. I just did the math, looked at the top writer actually on Fiverr right now in the pro section. For 4,000 words, this would cost you $950. This is $25 on the higher per month priced plans. And we don't charge per post. It's that monthly subscription and your credits roll over. So incredible value. And these pieces can run up to 7,000 words. So not to pay per word alone that's a game changer. I think if you sell this to your clients in your marketing agency, you can offer them better content. Longer content is usually better content if the quality is there. And I think we saw today, like the quality is here. So this is really going to position the client as a thought leader, as somebody that knows their stuff. This is a great service, a great piece of content. So to do this as a service, your profit margins would be horrific. I've done it. So Content Scale is a game changer if you're reselling this as a service to your clients.
Yeah, we're at a time where so many people understand that they need to be blogging, not just blogging once per week, but they really even understand that they need to be blogging more than once per week, so multiple times per day. However, Julia, as you ran your agency and I did mine, it would be the costs for the agency owner would be astronomical to publish 20 articles per month for a single client, or that client would just be better off hiring their own writer. However, now, as we've seen, the interest for our Done For You continues, even though we've shut it down. That people understand that the only way that they're going to be able to compete with blogs that publish once, twice, 3 times a day is to use AI. So it's a really good opportunity for agency owners.
Yes, and I think we have Paul here who's doing that, reselling Content Scale, and he's hiring writers using the AIO process. So our AIO, our agency certification, which Josh has been working so hard on, about to launch, is a total game changer. If you want a way to train your team and actually do this as a service.
SEO Pillar Master. It doesn't automatically add it to the table of contents. However, you can erase the table of contents, and there's a table of contents button in the editor. And that would pick it up. It would pick up all H2s and H3s. So you can refresh it. However, you just have to delete the old one and put in the new one. Men films. So what's the benefit of choosing shorter word count if longer articles are better? As someone who works with Content at Scale, who specializes in long form content, long form articles aren't always better. If you have a very simple question and you spend 5,000 words talking about it, that's, obviously it's not a good article. So if you have a very simple, FAQ style question, sometimes shorter content is going to be the best idea there. A good idea to do there is to search for it yourself, search the keyword, and then look at the average length of the top 10 articles. If their average length is 500, 700 words, then that, 1,000-word article is going to be more than enough. If you go longer than that, you run the risk of being automatically ruled out in the algorithm because it's clear that you don't know what people really need there. So definitely look at search intent for keywords that seem like they don't require a lot of content.
And we had someone here who was a podcaster, and speaking to briefly, I know we're about to wrap up, but speaking to the topic here of building what can easily be an 8-figure content strategy. If you have multiple channels like a podcast and you want to start a blog, like that used to be so difficult in the past, right? Like, well, now I have to become 2 full-time roles or duplicate myself or hire a team here. So if you have a podcast, you can use content at scale, choose that input, put your podcast in that, and then it's writing a full piece like the piece we see today that it wrote on this keyword. It's writing a full piece of content. It's not transcribing. It's not just regurgitating what you're saying. There's structure and there's SEO in mind. And something it's also doing, saving you more time, the writing, you save that. It's also doing the content strategy. So the keyword of that piece, it's actually pulling based on the podcast content. So it'll recommend the best keyword and then optimize that piece of content with that keyword. So it's so easy with this tool to go multi-channel and to build, what can be an omni-channel presence, which is critical. It's like, does your website convey what I heard on the podcast? That's multiple trust points, and your increase of conversion just from history doing this myself increases so much. So this tool is a game changer if you're a podcaster, if you don't really like doing content, if you hate writing, unlike myself. Well, you know what? I like to write, but I don't like to write long form content. Who does? It's just a lot of work. Yeah. So this just saves you incredible time. And then you get that freedom back as your business grows. And I know we have like agency owners, Paul here, and then we have people that are wanting to use this for their own marketing. But there's so many ways you can use this to grow so much more quickly. Like we're in those times where you can make your marketing scale without breaking and hit that crazy revenue mark, where you're getting hundreds of thousands of visitors and income per month. You can do that with a great website. The problem used to be, like we saw in the redistribution, the problem used to be hiring all of that content production team. That's gone now. You can generate this in minutes. So anyway, that's my spiel. Did we cover all of the Q&A?
Just about. I have a couple more things I want to touch on. But on that, podcast transcripts, they don't rank. So even though they're easier to produce now, and you can use several AI tools to, do it, and it's very, very accurate, they don't rank. However, taking that topic or that content within the podcast and then being able to turn it into a long form informational content that's still covers what you covered in the podcast, but yet it's in a way that's more, SEO friendly is huge. So there are a couple questions that I saw on there. One was on originality. So I did want to cover that. We obviously won't run this through originality. However, what we've seen is that there are a lot of AI checkers out there that are giving false positives. So I've ran content that I've written every word through many different checkers, and a lot of it's come back as AI, even though I know I wrote it. There was a big viral article that went out that the U.S. Constitution was actually written by AI way back in the 1776. So that's pretty interesting. We are to speak on that. We are committed and will always be. I mean, Julia and I know Justin. He's not slowing down in terms of continuing to make this AI the best out there. Part of that will be always to make it more human sounding and more human like, and to get the finished product closer and closer to something that is publish ready. That's definitely our commitment. It's also a very, very fast moving space. And every day there's not one new move, but multiple potentially industry changing moves that we are trying and really succeeding keeping up in, because everyone on the team loves reading AI news. So that's what I would say there. We're not going to run this through originality. It very well could ping. However, I would say that in the AI detection space, it's pretty much getting to the point where it's detecting just about everything as AI. So I will, and there was one other, if I can remember it, maybe I can't. Shorter, longer articles. You can't use multiple keywords or inputs in a single piece. That's just one. So one key phrase or one YouTube URL. However, Julia, could you possibly scroll down on the SEO optimization to show?
Yes, let's do it.
So these are some of those NLP keywords. Obviously, then this one didn't have a lot. Most articles do have at least a couple dozen additional keywords. However, since this one didn't have a lot, that's why it's probably showing higher on the SEO optimization there. However, as you input these, and don't just stuff them in there. For instance, I can see TMJ disorders. But what you might want to do is insert the cursor into the article, hit that H button that we showed you a little bit earlier, and then put TMJ disorders, and then actually have the AI write an entire section on that particular keyword. And that can help boost that score as well. So I did want to talk about that. And yeah, I think that's it. So Jeff definitely wanted to cover originality there. And again, if you are a content at scale user, please be on the lookout for our community in the next couple of weeks. We're excited to get that rolling. Unused credits do roll over, John. They roll over each month. So you will have, as long as you're an active user, all your credits remain.
Cool. Well, we went 4 minutes over. I hope this was worth it for you guys, and you got some good stuff from it. Yes, may the 4th be with you. Any last parting words, Josh, that we should leave them with, other than have a good day? And we'll hope to see you inside the community.
Have a good Star Wars day.
Yes. If you are a user, like Josh said, keep an eye out for the community. It'll be packed with the courses. So that's going to be an amazing thing to dive into. That's coming very soon. And if you're not a user, go to contentscale.ai, sign up for your invitation. You'll get a link to access our trial, so you can try it out for 7 days. You get a credit and you can really play with it. Do yourself what we did today and see how this works for your keywords, for your content. Rewrite a podcast and you can use that content too. So contentscale.ai, sign up, get your invitation, and you'll get access to that trial. But we hope to see you guys again. I know we'll be running these more often in the future. Hopefully Texas Cedar won't bother me as much as it did today. Paul, I'm glad you were here. He said he learned a lot. That's awesome. It was great to see you all. And with that, we will wrap up. I hope to see you